Hello there everyone, this is Kenny Stahl, and in this video I want to talk to you about social anxiety and share with you my experiences as well as telling you what has helped me. So hopefully it can somehow benefit you. So the first thing I want to say is that from my own experience where I've seen social anxiety take place in my life, it's whenever I basically have to do something in front of other people. So, for example, I once had to mop floors in a grocery store, and I remember having anxiety so bad where I would not mop in front of anybody. I would have to make sure that everybody was far away from the area that I had to mop and that they were all gone. And I remember one time when the manager came over and she told me, okay, go mop the floors over there, basically. So I looked over there, I seen there was about a dozen people right where I needed to go. And I was just like, I froze. I literally froze. I couldn't move. Like, I could not get myself to go over there. And she was standing there waiting for me to just go do it. And I was like, I just dropped the mop, pretty much. I threw it against the wall or something. And I went somewhere else. And I probably cried, honestly. And that's pretty bad. So I don't like working in front of other people. I don't want to know that people's eyes are watching me. I remember having to like mow the lawn or shovel snow out of my driveway. I wouldn't go outside if I knew that there was a neighbor there. I would be scared that somebody was going to watch me work. So, I mean, I think that that's an example of social anxiety. I'm fairly confident that's really social anxiety. That's not just being shy. I mean, I think that's a real fear of other people. You know, I also am aware that of course I have like anxiety when I have to think about like going to a party where there's lots of people. I definitely think about like an event that I have to go to like days before I actually have to go, and I just overthink it. I wonder like who's gonna be there, what can I do when I get there, am I gonna be okay, and I just worry about it. Another example of like social anxiety in my life is specifically I remember having a classroom discussion taking place in my English class, and I was a freshman in high school, and I remember that we had to read this book, and we had to come to class with questions prepared and topics to talk about in a circle group, and you get points every time that you say something. It was a discussion. You were getting graded on just speaking. And I remember being literally the only person to not say a single thing, because every time when I had an opportunity to talk about it, I would freeze up and I would worry what other people would think about what I had to say. And I remember the teacher called on me, Kenny, you haven't said anything. What do you want to say? And I was just, I don't have anything to say. I don't know. I don't want to say anything. And afterwards she talked to me. She's like, what's going on? Why didn't you say? I'm too scared to talk. I just don't want to. So, I mean, those are some examples of like social phobia in my life, or social anxiety in my life. So obviously it takes different forms for different people, and you know, let's not try to like battle it out who has it worse, because you know, for me it might not be too bad. I know that other people in my family, like my mom, has it extremely bad. I've never met somebody in my life who has social phobia as bad as she does. You know, like basically it has interfered with my life a little bit, where I would change like my daily plan or my weekly plan based on whether or not there's people going to be involved in my activities. And so the problem that I've ran into is that what's my solution to having social anxiety? My solution is to get away. Is to get away from people, avoid them. So this has led me to become really isolated. It's made it hard for me to make friends and keep them. You know, oftentimes I would think to myself like, okay, this time is going to be different. I'm not going to be afraid. You know, obviously I'm a quiet person. I don't talk a lot. So this time I'm not going to be so shy, and I'm going to talk to people at a party, or I'm going to do, and I never do. My body shuts down in a way, and I'm just not present. I'm not acting. I'm not speaking. So basically what I want to say about this is that I think that probably the reason for having certain amounts of social anxiety is the fear of being judged by other people. I have to explain this a little bit because of course it's the fear of being judged by other people. But I think there are two things about this. And the first thing is that you're being judged by somebody who you perceive to be better than you. You're being judged by a superior. So I think that sometimes we're just overly concerned about how much a situation matters. And obviously, every situation does matter. It especially matters to you. So this is kind of the point that I want to make, is that when you're scared of something taking place, when you're afraid, really the only person that the situation matters to is you. Now, of course, people might be judging you in some way. Of course, it does matter in general. But really, the weight of all the fear is placed onto you. So I come at this with the approach to focus on changing your mindset or helping you come up with ways to deal with it and manage it. So the first thing I would say is, again, we're afraid of being judged by people that we perceive to be better than us. And also, sometimes, at least for me, in my experience, it's the fear of being judged by somebody with the assumption that they're not going to understand what I'm doing. That they're not going to get it. That they're not going to, like, for example, taking you back to the story I told you about having to mop up floors. I would probably be scared that they're judging the way that I'm mopping the floor, that maybe I'm not doing it right. One of the things to help is to be confident, to know that I'm an expert mopper. I know how to mop floors. Now, you would think it's silly, like, who doesn't know how to mop a floor? But, I would be afraid that I don't know what I'm doing right, or that I'm going to look stupid. So, of course, confidence helps. And I found myself to not really have that kind of fear when I know that what I'm doing is something that I'm doing right. So if I know that I'm super really good at something, I'm not going to be afraid of doing it in front of people. So building up skills, working at a skill, developing it to a point where I'm, really good at it is, of course, a way to build confidence and make me not as scared to do it in front of people. So like I said, doing work in front of people, of course, is what I'm afraid of doing. But with the idea that, well, that person isn't going to understand what I'm doing, I think that plays a part in it. But the way that I would suggest to deal with that is, it's like, realize that people get it. Like, people know what you're doing. If you're in a situation and maybe you're going to a store where there's a lot of people and you might be afraid to just go in the store and shop or whatever, understand that people get it. People understand that you're there to shop, and they're not going to be focusing on you because they're there to shop. There are people that are doing their own things in life. They understand that you're doing your own thing in life. Like, you understand that other people are just doing their own thing. You don't, like, you might not necessarily think about, well, what is that person thinking about me? Is that person wondering if I'm thinking about them? I mean, that can get kind of complicated if you think about it way too much. But I mean, typically, we feel like no one is going to understand me and where I'm coming from. So really, feeling comfortable comes from knowing that people understand you. Feeling okay is coming from a place where, feeling like you're not going to get judged. And normally we're afraid of getting judged by people because we think they don't get it, or because we think that they think better. But, so if you're worried, I think, I also want to say that I think a lot of this might come from just you, or just, for me, I know this is a fact for me. I would say it might be that this is coming from the place where you just are not okay with yourself. That you are not confident in yourself. You might have a low self-esteem. So the judgment that you place on yourself, you then project and assume that other people are placing that same judgment on you. So one of the things that I suggest, and this is something that I am definitely doing in my life, it's becoming satisfied and happy with who I am, and being confident and comfortable with myself, and raising my self-esteem in many ways. Like, for example, like I said, working at a skill and getting good at it. builds confidence. So I would do as much things, learn as much stuff as I can, get good at it. That way I know that I have something in my arsenal that I can say that I should be proud of. Something that does not make me inferior to other people, at least in my mind, right? So if you can change the way that you perceive yourself and escape your own prison of thoughts, your own negativity, your own low self-esteem, it might help you in dealing with other people to avoid that fear that they're going to judge you. So, I mean, this video is kind of more about your like judgment of other people, and it's more about like afraid of what people might think about you, afraid people are watching you. I mean, that's probably what this video is mostly about, but I mean, I would say it's a little bit about social anxiety. I think that's kind of what it is, and at certain levels for certain people, especially myself. Again, I know that social anxiety exists in several different ways for a variety of different people, so obviously it's different. So hopefully this video helped you. If it didn't, you know, maybe you can inform me like what the different like situations a person with social anxiety might go through, because I am interested in this kind of stuff, even if it's not stuff I can talk about from my own personal experience. But if you are interested in hearing more about me and my life and what I go through and some tips for what I think could help you, subscribe to this channel. I talk about depression, self-esteem, just, you know, ways to live better. I try to be motivating and inspiring in certain ways. So please subscribe to this channel. Follow me on Twitter, follow me on Facebook. The links to that are in the description. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. As always, don't hate yourself, and thanks for watching.